Welcome. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Soul, the second episode of Soul to Soul with Sonia G. I'm so happy that you guys could join us on a Monday. I hope you guys are off to a good start of your week. And I want to remind you guys that this show is about bringing on guests um, to share their stories of resilience. And I'm hoping that you guys become inspired or motivated somehow as you listen to the discussion that we're going to have today. So I want to introduce my guests formally. I'll start with my first guest, who is Isela Moreno. And Isela Moreno, she has a Master of Social Work. She does a lot of macro social work, outreach, and she's worked for Tri City Mental Health in Pomona for over 16 years.
Mm,
Is that correct?
For over 16 years, yes.
So, hi. And
Mm.
also, guys, she's my sister.
Yeah.
All right.
She's my little sister. Yeah.
Aw.
So, yeah, we got into the same field. It's
Yeah,
kind of cool, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It is a blessing. We love helping people.
we
So,
do.
sis, thank you so much again for being on here. Again, this is our way of giving back to our community. Do you want to share just a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thank you, sis, also for having me here and to be able to share a little bit about my story. So I work for Tri City Mental Health. I've been there for over 16 years. We serve Pomona, Claremont, and Laverne. I supervise a team that focuses on linkage and referral to different resources in the community. So, what's nice about working at Tri City is I grew up in Pomona, so get to give back to Pomona. So we're able to work a lot. We're able to work with a lot of individuals and families that just need a lot of resources, whether it's to get into mental health service, maybe they're struggling, maybe they're unsheltered, maybe they're on the verge of being unsheltered. We're able to help them with resources. I also work with a lot of community agencies. We do a lot of outreach. We work with like the police departments. We work with like city halls. So we do a lot of work with these agencies as well.
Yes, you guys do. You guys are very well known, Tri
Mhm.
City. Thank you, sister, again for coming on. And then my second guest is Jerry Hernandez. You know what? I want to say something though, because Pomona is representing in the house. I mean, I know you're not from Pomona, but
Right.
you're a realtor from Pomona.
Correct.
And me and my sister both grew up in Pomona. So, yeah, so it's kind of nice. Jerry Hernandez, though. Jerry Hernandez, thank you for coming on.
Oh, you're welcome.
Again, thank you so much, Jerry. You have a really important message. Jerry Hernandez is a realtor, seasoned
Yes.
realtor for
18
like
years.
18 years. That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like you're an expert in your field. And then you also have over 16 years of recovery.
Yes.
So that's amazing. High five to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. How are you?
I'm doing well. I just hope to, bring some value to today based on what I've experienced in not only before getting sober, but after getting sober. So I want to, bring in some value for any, to share my experience, strength, and hope with that, in hopes that someone can listen to today's and take that information, and hopefully they can use that in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. And I mean, I think that's the point of this show, right? So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much. Today, guys, we are going to be talking about childhood trauma,
Mm-hmm.
alcoholism, and codependency, and just how they're all interconnected. They're kind of heavy topics, right? But we hope to bring some light to it, shed some light, and so that you guys could see the other side of recovery, right? What recovery looks like Jerry, and he's successful in his career, my sister and myself, right? That recovery is possible. So before we get started, I want to do a disclaimer, okay? This show is for educational purposes only. It should not be a substitute for professional therapy or for medical treatment. If you're having like an emergency, if you're having thoughts of wanting to harm yourself, any mental health crisis, please call 988. 988 is the suicide hotline
Mm.
number, okay? So also, I think as we get started, I want to, again, kind of like what we did with Carolina, I want to encourage everyone to prepare your hearts just to kind of listen to our stories and be gentle with yourself. If at any moment it feels kind of strong, it's okay to kind of turn off the radio or step away for a moment. But also I want to say, see if there's any place anywhere in our stories, in their stories, when you hear my sister Isela talk and when you hear Jerry talk, if there's anything that you guys identify with. And let's get started. Let's talk about the childhood impact, okay? But before that, I want to define what childhood trauma is, okay? When you think about childhood trauma, we're talking about, it refers to like a scary, a violent, or a life-threatening event that happens to a child. It can also be that they heard it or they saw it, right? It didn't have to happen to them directly. So as long as they like witnessed it, it's still considered a childhood trauma. So I want to just kind of set the tone so that you guys can, so we can all have a better understanding as we begin to talk about our dad's drinking, right? Because our both mine and Isela's dad was an alcoholic. Our father died in alcoholism.
Mhm.
Your father, it's a little bit different, right? So let's start with you first,
Okay.
Jerry. How did your dad's drinking shape your life? Either
Well,
dad's drinking or childhood trauma, right?
so my dad got sober when I was 5 years old, but I do have some memories of his drinking behavior, the slurring, the coming home drunk, waking up the whole household because he was hungry and he wanted my mom to make him something to eat. So I remember that. But more importantly, what I remember was we took a trip to Mexico. I'll never forget this. And my dad had been drinking for like 4 or 5 days. Right? And I remember waking up in the morning and people came and my dad was shaking so bad. Like he was like uncontrollable.
Yes.
Basically he was having delirium tremens and he was going through major withdrawals. So they came, they I remember they carried him. They literally, and I'm like a 5-year-old kid, right? And I'm like, where the fuck are they taking my dad? And I remember my mom just like looking worried and they took him away. And I didn't see him for like a week.
You were 5.
Right.
Yeah.
I was so I remember that caused a lot of fear and anxiety. Number one, what's happening with my father? Number two, where are they taking him?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I don't see him
Right.
for like a whole week, right? And what I remember is a few days later, we went to the hospital and he walked out. And I remember seeing him and being like, wow, my dad looks different. He's not the same as a week ago when he was freaking shaking and right. So I still remember, and that's a memory implanted in my head of what alcohol can do to someone.
That's something that you witnessed. Yeah.
Yeah, as a kid, yeah.
So it gave you a lot of anxiety. That makes sense. We
Mm-hmm.
hear that a lot with children of alcoholics.
Yeah.
For you, Isela, how would you say dad's drinking impacted your life?
I have a lot of memories about my dad and his alcoholism. So for me as a child, I feel like I was very hyper vigilant. Like
Mm.
I was always a
Yes.
certain time at night would hit and I was like, "Oh, my dad's going to come home drunk." My dad, even if he comes home drunk, that means that there's going to be a fight possibly between him and my mom. He was an
Mm.
annoying drunk. He would wake up the whole household.
Mm.
And then my mom would get annoyed, and then there would be a big fight. And for me, those fights were actually very frightening for me, and they would cause
Sure.
me a lot of anxiety. I mean, anxiety to the point that I was worried, like, oh, my dad's not home. Not
Mm-hmm.
only was I worried about him coming home drunk, but I would also worry about something happening to him because my dad was in a lot of accidents when, due to his alcoholism, in a lot of fights. Again, he used to like to fight. He was an annoying drunk. I mean, some people can drink and
They have fun. They're
they have
very
fun.
social.
That wasn't my dad.
Not our father.
That was not him. And so I would worry, like, what if something happens to him? What if somebody hurts him? What if someone him up? You know, and I just
Which happened often.
yeah, which happened often, unfortunately. And so I think a lot of that also, you know, not only did it bring a lot of anxiety for me, but, you know, a lot of issues also like of fear and abandonment. You know, I didn't have that typical father figure in my life
Mm.
that was present. My mom basically functioned like a single mother, practically. He wasn't really involved like in her school stuff or anything like that. So I I think with all of that, as I got older, I realized, you know, the way it shaped my life, like some issues with low self-esteem, like people pleasing behavior, right?
That's a big one. Low self-esteem, you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A lot of people pleasing behavior, not knowing how to set boundaries or when to say no. Because again, you want people to like you, right? I wanted people to like me. Control issues. I think that was a big one that I really started noticing control issues. I think a lot of the chaos in childhood created like a deep need in me to control situations and people because I mean, things were out of control. My dad's alcoholism was out of my control when I was younger. The fights between him and my mom were out of my control. So as I got older, I felt like if I controlled certain situations or certain people, that made me feel safe.
Sure. And that makes sense, right? So we see how childhood trauma can really impact us, right? Like just witnessing, right? Even how you were talking about it.
Right.
You saw it.
I saw it
And it
firsthand,
impacted, yeah.
and as a child, you know what I came to find out is in being in therapy and in recovery, the home should always be the safest place for a child.
Okay, yeah, that's very good that you say that. And most of the time,
And when a child, like for instance, us witnessing those situations as children, especially when we're still developing our emotional framework, our head. We're not understanding what we're seeing. So automatically we go into the basic human emotions, fear, anger,
Right.
anxiety, right? So you're a 5-year-old child, in my case, right? I'm witnessing my father uncontrollable tremens.
yeah,
People look scared. All the adults are like, what the fuck's happening to this man, right? And then they carry him away. And all I hear my mom say is, don't worry, he's going to be okay. Well, he doesn't look okay. How can he be okay if he doesn't look okay, right? And then witnessing that is a memory implanted in me to this day, but it also was the beginning of that cycle of witnessing things as a child and experiencing things.
yeah. Which can lead us to realizing when the problem,
Yeah.
when you realized it was a problem, right? So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. When you started drinking,
Yes.
when did you realize it was a problem for you? When did it become unmanageable?
Oh, that happened right away. I started drinking, I think, when I was at the age of 19, but by the age of 20, I was already blacking out.
So that's interesting because that's
Yeah.
not always common, right? Sometimes it's very progressive when we look at the disease of alcoholism, and it's like you start at,
Right.
like I started at 14, and then by like 18, oh, I was drinking so much. And then by 22, I was a alcoholic, you know? So for you, when I heard your story, you started drinking at 19, and then by 21, you went hard, Jerry.
Right. Like like for me it was first time, I'll never forget this. I'm drinking, I'm seeing all my friends drinking, right? We're in the hood. And I remember I don't remember if I broke up with my girlfriend or if I had an argument with my girlfriend. I don't remember. But what I remember is not feeling good. And I remember I was like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. And I remember my friends offering me alcohol, and I just said, fuck it. And I drank it, and man, it switched how I felt inside.
Yeah, that's
And I
what
was like, whoa, what is this? Fucking love this feeling.
yeah.
So, but
Yes.
obviously with me, it was, I loved the buzz and I kept chasing it. night after night, week after week, day after day, right?
But there's a part where you were self-medicating a lot, right? Because you
Oh
still
yeah,
have
of
not
course.
dealt with the childhood trauma.
Right, of course. Growing up in that environment, I grew up with a lot of anxiety, a lot. Like I was on
Sure.
edge all the time, right?
Same.
So, so when I took that drink, it gave me that that relief that I so wanted. It shut off what we call the voices in my head, the constant, the worrying about stuff, people, places, and things, right? So yeah, I loved alcohol from the first
So
moment
right
with the buzz,
away, so instantly you noticed it was a problem.
right?
Okay. So for you, Isela, you
Mhm.
didn't have a drinking problem.
For me, it was different. I never had a drinking problem or issues with substance abuse.
For you, it was more
I think my
codependency.
anxiety wouldn't even allow me to
Mhm.
drink or use any drugs because I was so worried about how they would probably end up making me feel.
Yes, you were.
But yeah, for sure. But I think for me, I started noticing it in my relationship with the father of my kids.
And let me just kind of
Hmm.
read a real quick definition of what is codependency. I think a lot of people have a hard time really grasping
Yeah.
what that is.
Hmm.
But it's a relationship pattern where a person, often with low self esteem, has an unhealthy self destructive attachment to another person, another substance, or a process.
Hmm.
So for you,
So again, going
when
back,
did you recognize? Yeah.
like I said, I started slowly, kind of somewhat recognizing it when I was in the relationship with the father of my kids. I looking back, I accepted a lot of disrespect, even some emotional abuse, and I didn't really set good boundaries, right? And
Yeah.
I just kind of allowed it. But it wasn't so obviously I went through some therapy here and there, and I even had a therapist one time recommend Al-Anon to me.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
And when I would think of codependency, I just thought, well, somebody with, who's an addict and who has somebody as an enabler, you know? And I was thinking, well, my father's not in my life anymore at this point. He was the one with the alcoholism. And my ex didn't have any issues with alcohol or any drugs at all. So I was thinking, like, why is she referring me to Al Anon? Like, I think she was
Well,
seeing a lot of
yeah.
issues with codependency
Uh
that I
huh.
probably had through
Yeah.
therapy. Um, but I like it wasn't until maybe recently, maybe like 2 years ago, 2 years and a half, that I really started diving into codependency, like what that is. And that is for me actually getting ongoing therapy for like 2 years and a half and really learning more self love and really reflecting on myself. And that's when I started really like, ooh, I think I
You're like,
I
oh,
have some lot of
I'm a little,
codependency
I'm
tendencies.
codependent. You
Yes.
know, many people are. I just kind of want to put that out there, right? It's just a lot of people are not really aware of their own patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah.
There's a lot of codependency on different things.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm glad you recognize that, sis.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad I recognize that within myself too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then with you, Jerry,
Yes.
also like, when did you recognize? Obviously, there's the alcoholism, but when did you recognize codependency in your life?
In my last relationship,
Okay.
that's when so in my last relationship, we did about, me and my partner at the time, we did about 10 months of couples therapy.
Wow. That's
And
good.
we didn't do it like once a month. It was like every other week or weekly. And that's when I
Intensive.
saw all the patterns, especially when the therapist would speak about like the different situations, right? The four horsemen, talking about the Gottman theory, you know, the love languages, right? All these different things, and I started seeing the pattern on everything. I was like, oh, he'd be talking, and I'd be like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that's why that relationship didn't work. That's why
Yeah.
this one, and then I started noticing the whole behavior, and I was like, yeah, if I don't break it, it's going to continue to happen with the same people,
Yeah.
same outcome.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of, again, like power dynamics, we see that play out. And when I'm talking about power dynamics, I'm referring to like its influence, authority, and control, and how it's distributed between partners
Mm, yeah.
in relationship. And how do you guys see alcoholism and codependency create unhealthy dynamics? Like control, enabling, rescuing, dependency. Like how did they show up in your relationships more specifically?
I think for me was accepting a lot of the disrespect.
Mm,
Um, uh, Also, I always felt like I had to earn love.
mm,
It was like my focus was like on my relationship. Like I I looked to that to make me happy. Like
It was
now I
very
realize,
centered,
and I lost
man
myself.
centered.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really lost myself. Like, what is it that I like? What makes me happy? You know? And yeah, I've that's kind of like how it showed up in my relationship.
You know, sis, that's very common with codependency when people will say, I just, like, I don't know who I am. What do I want? Like, I lost myself.
Yeah, I really did. I really did lose myself in that relationship. You know, I often like swept things under the rug, and instead of, you know, there being consequences. And so I noticed that's how it
Yeah.
showed up for me.
And a lot of that was because of the fear. Going
Oh,
back
yeah,
to childhood trauma, right?
mm,
going back to
That
that.
fear, that anxiety of like what? Being abandoned or
Hmm.
it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Like my family when I was younger didn't work out, right? Because my
Oh,
dad
yeah.
was an alcoholic. So I have to make this work. I mean, even if he's disrespectful.
Oh, that was a big one for me. That was huge for me. Like, how do I keep my family together? Like,
mm,
I
Oh,
want to keep my family together. That is so important to me, you know, because I want to be different, you know?
yes.
Like,
I
I
want to
want,
break that cycle.
yes, I want to break that cycle. But that came with a lot of other things I wasn't aware of
Right.
that were not healthy for me.
But again, there's that codependency, right? When I said it's like the self destructive attachment to another person, a substance, or a process.
Hmm.
And for you, that was like to the process of the family, the marriage
Oh, yeah,
unit,
for sure. That was totally me.
especially with Catholicism,
Oh, yeah.
mm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right?
That was big. Yeah.
That's another kind of layer
Yeah,
there.
that's another layer I can go way into, but
How about with you, Jerry?
Well, what the way obviously being an alcoholic, self-soothing, so I was always turning to alcohol and drugs to deal with whatever was happening in my life
Yeah.
emotionally, right? Not being able to cope with that. But also too is meeting women who whose father was either absent or would drink. So to them, what they saw in me was just basically what they saw. They didn't have a reference of like, oh well, my father doesn't drink, he doesn't behave this way, so what, Jerry shouldn't behave this way. To them, it was like, well, I guess that's what men do, and if we love
Sure.
them, then we're gonna maybe try to fix them,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
then
hmm.
I used the codependency where, oh, I was drinking and using, but if I was providing, I thought that gave me the okay to do whatever the fuck I wanted.
And that's the power dynamics,
Right.
right?
I was like, I'm paying the bills, I'm buying the mortgage. You need to put up with my drinking then. That's basically in a nutshell. Which was obviously that was selfish of me, right?
And that's like very machista.
Of course, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. It's very
True.
common in a lot of our, well, in
Our
our
culture.
culture. I
Hmm.
hope it kind of starts coming down a little bit more.
Hmm.
But so that's how it showed up with you. You
Right.
saw the power wasn't even with you.
Yeah, and I always wanted that power, and I never wanted to give it up.
Hmm.
Not understanding, and especially the years of therapy, is that in a relationship there has to be compromise, and there has to be a sense of boundaries. Hey, we don't cross this.
Yeah.
And I would just there was no boundaries with me.
Yeah.
I say and I wanted to do whatever I could, and ultimately, obviously, I hurt the individuals who I was in the relationship with.
Yeah. Anything else that comes up? regarding the dynamics. Any other examples?
You mean in with a partner?
No, or even with like, you know how Isela was talking about with the marriage, right? Having to like, I have to make it work, right? I have to make it work because my marriage has to work out.
Oh, okay, I get it. Well, I think those are society pressures that we put on ourselves
I mean,
that
yeah.
are made up, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, like for example, the vow of marriage, right? No matter what, in poor or in health, right? But how can you honor that vow and to stay with someone where you're with that individual's causing so much pain on you?
Exactly, but then that's the codependency,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the
That's like
code.
depending on someone else, like
Mm-hmm.
for my happiness. And
Yeah.
yeah, that
Yeah.
was,
And those are some of the main characteristics of like codependency, right? Like you lose yourself, you have a hard time saying no. There's
mm-hmm,
a lot of people pleasing
mm-hmm,
because I want you to like me. You know, I really
Yeah.
want you to like me.
mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What else from codependency? You think you're going to control the other person and fix them.
Oh yeah. I also noticed that I had a lot of control issues, right?
Can you
Because I
talk
wanted to
about
feel
that?
safe.
Can you, yeah,
I wanted
control
to feel
issues.
safe. I didn't feel safe in my relationship actually. I didn't feel safe. There was a lot of things that were done to me
Sure.
that also added to me not feeling safe, not just my dad's alcoholism. There was a lot of other trauma I faced while in the
Sure.
relationship as well, you know? And and with that, like not trusting my ex, and came all those like control issues, like what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
oh,
I mean,
where
you
are you
already
at?
had
What?
it from
Yeah.
the childhood trauma, and
Yeah.
then he's not understanding your
Oh,
childhood
not at
trauma,
all.
right? And
Not at
then
all.
there's another layer,
Oh yeah.
right? And that
Yeah.
adds more anxiety. So that's so
Oh
hard.
yeah. It brought that relationship brought so much anxiety to me. Like I can honestly say now, like I have so much peace.
Mm.
I
Oh,
I have so much peace. Like you don't understand. It was hard. It was
yeah.
hard. Like breaking
You know,
that
talk
trauma
about
bond.
you
It
know
was
what?
Yeah.
really
Talk
hard
about that
breaking
because
that
they
trauma
are
bond.
these trauma bonds, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't get yourself disconnected from them,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very difficult
Oh, it
for
was
you
really difficult.
because then you would deal with guilt.
Oh, I would deal with guilt. I would deal with shame, or like my kids. Like, how is this going to affect my kids? What type of trauma am I now, causing my kids?
Mm-hmm.
I would deal with a lot of that. And so, yeah, it was really difficult, that trauma bond, right? Where things would be really bad, but then things would be good. And I would hold on to that good stuff. Like, I would hold on tight to that good stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And that's where it was difficult to break that
Yeah.
trauma bond.
That would bring you back.
That
I
would
see
bring me
you
back.
kind of nodding. You could identify with that too, Jerry.
Well, yeah. In this aspect, she's kind of. It reminds me of me. Like I would treat my partner bad, right? And then to make up for it, I'd buy her stuff,
We see that a lot.
or or do something where I need to make up for all the bad shit I put it through in the last week. I need to fix it, and then I'd slowly fix it, and then go right back to doing the same thing I was doing before.
Mm-hmm.
So the pattern kept repeating itself
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah, and both feed off of it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trauma bond, that love bombing.
Did you see? She's
I'm
like,
like,
I love bombing.
that love
Yeah,
bombing,
yeah.
that, I'm going to change.
Mhm.
Everything's going to be different.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah,
leave.
and yeah.
Don't leave, and they're
That's a good one right
crying,
there.
and it
The
just
don't
looks
leave.
really
Yeah.
good
I'm
and
gonna
very real.
change.
You
Yeah,
know, right?
and you believe it. And you want to
You want
hope
to
that,
believe it.
Yeah.
that it does change,
Mm-hmm.
But then it
And
kind of goes
sometimes it
back.
does, and it lasts a little. But yeah, the trauma bonds, those are very difficult to break. Those unhealthy attachments,
Oh, yeah.
that's what we're referring to, where the relationship is no longer healthy anymore, and it's just really kind of codependent,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
the respect has gone out the window,
Mhm.
and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, wow. Thanks for sharing that, guys. That's deep. Let's get into the recovery and the healing part, right? Because I think people
Hmm.
really want to know, how did we get to heal and like recover like you? How is it that you have not had a drink of alcohol in like 16 years? Me, no
Yeah.
alcohol in 12 years.
Hmm.
Um, and then codependency with you, Isela, being able to remove yourself from these relationships, right? And then move on and be successful. What helped you start your recovery, and what keeps you there, Jerry?
So for me, March 9th, 2009, that's my sobriety date. Been sober since that date. So it was really about hitting to a point where alcohol and drugs no longer were working anymore. It was basically a necessity just to freaking numb myself. I don't want to feel. I don't want to feel anxiety. I don't want to feel depression. I just want to drink and use drugs, right? So it got to the point, and then at the end, I knew that if I continued to drink and use, I was going to die. So that's when I decided to go back to outpatient rehab at Kaiser. That was my second time, and then I went I went hard into Alcoholics Anonymous,
Okay.
where I started working the 12 steps. I got a sponsor. I became very willing to take the suggestions that were being given to me by everyone that I was meeting in the rooms of recovery, right? So I didn't want what I had it before. So I had to do something drastic. And that drastic was to go into the program of recovery. And thank God I've been sober ever since, and it's worked for me. And so for me it was that time. But what keeps me is I genuinely love my life now in recovery. My
Yeah.
whole life's so much better. Isela talked about the peace part. I
Yeah.
have this peace that I you just can't buy it with money.
No, you can't.
It's not even happiness. Like I always share this in the rooms. To me, happiness is way overrated. There's no way a human being is capable of being happy. I I, I
Wait,
I've never
yeah, they
met.
can be happy.
No, you can't.
You
I've
can be
met.
happy.
I can
Not
met.
every
I
all
have
day.
met people in recovery who have shared with me, and I've experienced it, where you are able to find peace and serenity, which to me is something before I got sober I never had. So that is something to me that is even more precious than happiness. The peace and serenity
I
is by
agree.
far the best feeling for me that I felt,
I agree with you on
and
that.
that keeps me still where I'm at.
There's nothing like peace and serenity for
Right?
sure. To have a clear conscience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That feels good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Um,
priceless.
but I would say that that comes along with a lot of joy too and happiness.
Oh yeah.
I know in my sobriety, I've been able to find a lot of joy
Mm-hmm.
and happiness. That like when I was drinking, oh my gosh, I was so unhappy,
Yeah.
you know? So AA
Yes.
was what did it. I mean,
A,
yes, you went to
the
your
12
rehab.
step. Yes, I went to rehab. I had a counselor, a therapist. I had a psychiatrist. They offer everything there.
You did it all, right?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I
And
did
then
all
from
that.
there, they introduced you
Well,
to
I had
AA.
already the seed had already been planted a long time ago, because
Oh, that's right.
my journey obviously is really long, but I had already hit the first time I hit AA was when I was 18 years old. So I knew about the rooms. I knew that was the place where you went when you had a problem with alcohol and drugs, right?
Okay.
So for me, it was like, I'm gonna go back to the rooms, and maybe this time it'll stick, and it did. So, but for me, I knew about the rooms of AA long since I was 18.
That's really fascinating. How long were you drinking like hardcore for then?
For about 13 years.
13 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
13 years where I drank and used drugs from the age of like what 19 till I got sober when I was 33. You figure 12, 13 years, yeah.
Okay. Not too bad. Not too long. Okay. Um, Isela,
So
what about for you?
yeah.
What helped you?
So for me, therapy, A lot of therapy, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-reflection work really helped me loving myself more. What is, again, going back to what does Isela love?
Yeah.
Just recently, maybe like the past 2 years, I've been traveling more.
Yes.
And I really enjoy that. It makes
Yes,
me
you
happy, you know? It makes me happy. And it's like, do it, you know, save up money and take that trip
Absolutely.
if you want to take it, you know? So that's one thing. And also my faith. My faith is a big thing. So I am
Wait, are you
Christian.
talking
My
about?
faith in God.
Okay.
Sorry, I have a daughter named Faith, so maybe you're thinking.
Yes.
My kids too, though, have been a big thing too, right?
Yeah.
But I, you know, trusting God, I that's one thing that no matter how hard life got, I did keep my faith in God. And
Mhm.
trust me, I prayed for a lot of things that, yes, I feel God answered my prayers. And I also had a lot of things that God didn't answer my prayers. But
Right.
I do believe that there was a reason, right? There's something bigger and better out there for me. So, and also just being comfortable with the yucky feelings sometimes. I still have hard days, you know,
Sure.
and right now my kids, they're adults. They do their own thing. Sometimes I get home from work and I come home to an empty house
Yeah.
and I start feeling, you know, that loneliness, that
Sure.
just those, you know, uncomfortable feelings, but learning how to accept them and be okay with them. Because remember, I wasn't always okay with them when I was in this relationship, right? I
Right.
didn't want to feel a lot of those feelings also, right? It was easier to stay than to leave. So, really learning how to be, you know, uncomfortable.
And that's recovery.
Yeah.
Like you're in recovery.
Yeah.
Right? Just kind of learning how to deal with those uncomfortable emotions and feelings when you are in your house alone.
Oh, yeah.
And those old thoughts come up of like, was I left? Was I abandoned? Right? The old
Oh, yeah.
negative thoughts of childhood trauma come back up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then you get to actually work through it
Yeah.
now.
There was also, I want to mention, I read a really great book called Codependent No More.
Oh, yes, you guys.
Yeah.
This is a very good book. It's called Codependent No More. So if you guys are struggling out there with boundaries and you know that you have a hard time saying no and with people pleasing, start off with purchasing that book.
Yeah.
It's very informative.
Yeah, it's very informative. It's by Melody Betty. I hope I'm saying her last name correct. And I think that book really opened up my eyes to a lot of things because, you know, it goes through everything and all these different stories. And that was also really helpful
Mm.
for me as well.
Yeah. So that's a good book.
Yeah, it is.
What keeps you like focused on your healing?
Again, that self-love goes back to that self-love.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm so happy for you that you've been able to like find that.
Oh, yeah.
And you too, like, my gosh, over 16 years.
Yes.
That's amazing. The peace that you guys are talking about. I feel that peace too. You know what feels really good for me? I never wake up with a hangover anymore. For me, you know what alcohol did to me? It would. Oh, I'm so sorry, Johnny. Maybe we'll rub off on you.
I know that's why
Oh,
I
good.
vibe with everything that you're going through right
Yeah.
now.
Do you? Yeah.
I
Totally.
mean, I'm sorry for interrupting, but
Oh, no
No,
worries,
you're
man.
good.
what do you consider an alcoholic? I mean,
Well, Jerry.
Come
I
on,
think-
Jerry.
Yeah,
All right,
Jerry,
so-
answer the question.
Jerry.
And
What do we
again, this
consider
is
an
this is
alcoholic?
from hundreds of meetings and thousands of hours of attended meetings. Is an alcoholic is an individual, not how much he drinks, not what he drinks, but what happens to him when he drinks. Does he drink for the effect? That's one. If the answer is yes, that's already like a check right there. Number two is, are you having consequences with the drinking? Are you waking with hangovers? Are you going to jail? Are you getting DUIs? Is your wife saying, hey, man, you were tripping last night? Hey, you almost got into a fight. You got into an argument. Those are consequences,
Are you
right?
losing your
and then
jobs?
third,
Yeah.
And then
Right.
third is really about when you're not drinking, when you're sober, how are you able to cope with life?
Right.
Life's ups and downs. Or do you find yourself where you feel uncomfortable so much where you're just like,
You got to
fuck,
drink.
I need a beer.
Yeah, you got to drink.
So
Yeah.
that's already showing you that you need to self-medicate. So you need an outside
There's a dependence.
substance.
There's a dependence on the substance.
You
now.
need an outside substance to come into you to change the way you feel inside. And from being in the rooms of recovery, is happiness is an inside job. It could never be brought in from the outside. Money places people, money, alcohol, drugs, whatever.
will not do it.
It will never fill the void.
We see it all the time,
Yeah,
right? We see people with a ton of money and success, but they're still struggling.
Yeah, they're not happy inside.
Right.
Yeah. So that void is the big book says it's a spiritual malady
Yeah.
that
That's
only
what it is.
God can fix.
Yeah. Jerry, like you were saying about without drinking, it is like from drinking a lot, like many years and stuff,
Yeah.
and just to be sober, living sober life is really you got to go through it. You know what I mean?
Oh
It's
yeah,
hard.
and
It's hard to be
very
sober.
uncomfortable.
I mean,
Just to get you an idea, I'm 3 years sober. I hear a scream. My father dies in my
no way.
yeah, and I didn't drink over it.
Right.
So because I started learning these new coping skills.
Right.
You learn a lot of discipline
Mm-hmm.
in the groups of like Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous or
Yeah.
CODA, right?
Or even therapy
And
too.
therapy,
too,
you
yeah.
learn a lot of ways to cope and how to be more disciplined. So it's important, you know. That's why I think we're talking about all of this stuff to
Yeah.
really normalize. Like, one of the other reasons why I stopped drinking was like I got tired of waking up with panic attacks, you know.
Yeah.
And the depression for me was, oh my God, it was awful. I would wake up the next morning and I'd be crying, and literally it would feel like suicidal ideations, right? Like I just want to close my eyes and go to sleep and not wake up.
Wow.
Because for me, it affected me differently. It affected my brain. The alcohol affected my brain differently. You know, it caused me like severe panic attacks and depression. So it didn't start off that way. It started off very fun.
Yeah.
You know, it was very fun, right?
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was like numbing a lot of my feelings, but emotions that I had repressed. But alcoholism, it is a progressive disease. And then as time goes by, you know, the more you use, it starts affecting you differently, your brain and your body differently. So that's kind of what it started doing for me. And then I had to cut it. And thank God, by the grace of God, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever thought I was going to stop drinking?
I did.
Aw, yay. My sister believed in me. You know why I say that? Because like it's 4 siblings, right? It's me, my sister, and we have an older brother and a younger brother. And I was the lucky one with the disease of alcoholism. They didn't ever struggle with it.
Oh wow.
And I'm a female. So it's a little bit different, you know, like when you think about, one of the things I carried a lot was a lot of shame. I carried a lot of shame when I would drink, because you expect a lot of the stuff, and drugs, right? Like you not that you expect it from a man, but it looks different, like than a woman who is using drugs and is, you know, an alcoholic, right? So for me, you know, I carried a lot of shame with that. But thankfully, I don't have that shame anymore, you
Right.
know?
Amen.
But again, how does that happen? Like, I had to go to a lot of meetings. I also have a sponsor, the same sponsor that I've had for 13 years. No, not 13 years, because I'm 12 years. I'm going to be 13 years in December. I check in with her. I've had a lot of therapy. So recovery is definitely possible, huh, guys?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's possible. It's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
I just want to encourage you, and you know,
Like as far as me, I think I could quit. I mean, I'm not I'm probably in denial, you guys. But anyways, I could quit.
It's okay.
I could quit.
It's okay.
It ain't like I drink every day. I drink on the weekends,
Oh yeah.
occasionally.
Sure.
But the only time I really don't like to drink, But the reason I drink is because my brother, we get together, and that's why
You
That's
guys
how
get
you
along.
bond.
bond,
Yeah,
right?
Sure, that's a
Yeah.
very common thing
that's the
within
only
Yeah.
way. That's the
our
only reason.
culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear that. I see that.
And when we were growing up, like I've been through what you guys were talking about as far as my dad and mom fighting all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad, God, rest in peace, dad. He was a good dad and everything, but they used to drink a lot. They used to fight a lot, and I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and I
So
was in the middle of it, and I used to get tossed around trying to protect my mom. They'd be fighting and like bad. I still got bad memories,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't start drinking until I was 21. My whole family, my dad's, my grandpa and grandma always used to get together and have parties
yeah.
and drink all the time, and I didn't like it. I was always into like lifting weights but 21,
Oh,
yeah,
Johnny.
21, I was like I wanted my dad to be proud of me.
Yeah.
So I was one time I was in the front yard and I was like, I'm gonna do what my dad does. So I go to the chair, put the radio, and I was drinking a beer, and my dad came out. He was like, "What are you doing?" And I was wanted that bond with him,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but it didn't happen. So, but yeah, that's when I started drinking.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as far as now, I
Thank you
drink
for
once in a
sharing
while.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
For
thank you for
sharing
sharing
that.
that, Johnny. I hope like you listening to us
Oh, I
here
love it.
Mm-hmm.
kind
I'm
of
learning a lot.
good. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point of like the show, right? We want our listeners to learn a lot.
Right.
Let's switch gears real quick, right? We've got about like 9 minutes left, I would say, but let's talk about the parallels, you guys, between healing from alcoholism and healing from codependency. What are some similarities that you have seen with that? I'll go first.
Okay.
Yeah. For me, healing from alcoholism and codependency, I see like I had low self esteem and I needed a lot of self love in order to heal. Those are like the similarities that I see
Mm-hmm.
for me in my journey thus far. Um, what are some similarities that you see between the two?
Well, recognizing the patterns, like for example, me, right, getting sober, I knew each time I drink, I was gonna get fucked up, and then I was gonna want to use drugs, right? So I had to break that cycle. So what do? Stop, right? You stop and you learn. You start finding different ways to deal with life's ups and downs without drinking. And in codependency is, for example, I'm single, right? If I go out with someone and I see certain patterns, I'm like, yeah, that's a movie. I already saw this movie.
See, this is
I'm not, this is a train wreck waiting to happen. But see, in the past, I used to justify it if the person was attractive.
right.
I used to be like, well, that person's hot. Well, I'll just fucking deal with it. But then now it's more like, okay, you cannot change the person ever, right? 'Cause
Right.
if you get into a relationship and your first thought is, oh, I'm gonna change them, it's already bad.
Yeah,
That's already bad.
sure.
So now if I see any pattern that reminds me of past relationships, I immediately say, no,
So
this doesn't
wise.
serve me no more. And if I go into it, I'm just repeating the same behavior. And that's the insanity. The definition of insanity is repeating the same behavior and expecting a different result.
But what does that take, though, Jerry? It takes a lot. My sister said something
Yeah.
self reflection.
Mm-hmm. Self reflection.
A lot of people don't self reflect and do not become self aware.
The self awareness comes through education, through the therapy, to the meetings, to 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 speaking with enough people where you're like, wait a minute, I have this information now. If I continue, then it's gonna keep repeating. When now the all that therapy, all the AA meetings now says to me, Jerry, I am worthy. I can be alone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need a human being anymore to make me feel better. I
Right.
don't need validation from anything out there. I and I got to the place now for me with all the work, all the therapy, all the everything, right? Where I can be alone. I'm okay.
I love that. You speaking life to our
Yeah.
listeners and to
And
all of
and
us. And I
and
see my sister
and that
smiling over
takes
there.
courage.
Mm-hmm.
That
It
takes
does.
courage. That takes
Absolutely.
courage to be single and alone and deal with life's ups and downs, right? But you know
Yes.
what? Most humans are un they would rather be in a tough, bad relationship than take the courage to be alone and fix themselves.
Right.
Most human beings are like that. I know this because I have plenty of friends and family that are not in healthy relationships.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I said at the beginning, right? Hey, most people are codependent
Yes,
unless
we are.
we've done the work, right? Unless, yeah.
Yeah.
Did that work? Uh, go to relationship and fighting.
Yeah, that there's no peace there. There's no peace. Yeah, you one must but the self-esteem comes through the work,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. With
Mm-hmm.
doing the work.
You're right.
Yeah.
Um, let me see. We've got like 5 minutes, so let's talk about how did you reclaim your sense of self after?
Well, I never had a sense of self.
Okay, so you
Ever,
found it.
ever.
You found it
Yeah,
in
I found it.
recovery.
I found it in recovery.
Perfect.
I found it through the therapy. I found it to doing the work, and I found it where I'm at peace with myself. I have no more regrets.
Mhm.
I'm here because of all that bad stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But I choose now to live different. I
Mhm.
choose I choose to have peace in my life, and there's nothing I'm willing to do anymore, and I'm unwilling to break away from those um red flags. If I see a red flag,
You're good,
I'm
huh?
sorry, man.
You're
I
like,
can't do
boop.
this no more.
That's amazing.
And
That's
I
great.
think that takes courage. That takes
Discipline
discipline. That takes self-love
and good boundaries, all
and
kinds of.
boundaries and all that,
Mhm.
but it takes time.
It
So if
does.
anybody that's listening,
Doesn't happen right away.
no, it's gonna take some time.
You have to
Yeah,
practice. There's a lot of
yeah.
unlearning that will happen and then relearning new things. Okay, for you, Isela, how would you say that you reclaimed your sense of self back?
Again, it goes back to that self love, that
Self
self
love.
reflection. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what
You
did
know
for
what
me.
it was for me, you guys, for me, and I mentioned it before, it's been like inner child work,
Mm-hmm.
like embracing little Sonia, tapping into what little Sonia used to like, because yeah, that has been because I carried a lot of shame.
Hmm.
And so being able to connect with the innocent part of me that never should have experienced or self medicated with drugs and alcohol
Mm-hmm.
has been really helpful to me.
Mm.
Um, okay, 3 minutes. What would you tell your younger self or someone who's listening, who's struggling? Let's go with you, Isela.
I would tell my younger self, you are like the best project you will ever work on, you
Okay.
know? And yeah, like I work with my kids all the time on like that self love, you know? And um, yeah, I think that's what
Your
I
younger
would,
self.
yeah,
Okay.
would tell my younger self.
What about you, Jerry? What would you tell your younger
I
self?
would tell my younger self that it's gonna be okay. Don't be so hard on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and that what you're experiencing now is not gonna last forever.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That this too shall pass, and there will be a better day.
Yeah. Life's not perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not perfect.
Yeah. That's really good. I think what I would tell my younger self would be keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going. You got this, girl. That's what I would tell my younger self. You're not alone and you are loved. I think that's what I would
Mm-hmm.
tell my younger self. And for anyone out there who's struggling with alcoholism, codependency, I would say get connected, right? If you have insurance, call your insurance and ask about how you can get connected to therapy. There's a lot of AA meetings everywhere, right, Jerry?
Yeah, there's an app. I mean, there's just to give you an idea, there's about 5,000 meetings just in the general LA area at any given week.
Yes.
So there's plenty of places for you to go to meetings and the therapy. If you do have a healthcare provider,
Get
oh,
connected.
yes, I think all major insurance companies now offer therapy,
Yes, they
or
do.
They
right?
do.
They do, but I think a lot within our culture, they still kind of are a little hesitant about
Oh,
going to therapy.
There's
But
still a lot of
I'm
stigma.
telling you guys, you should be going to therapy
Oh, yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the helping field. We
Yes.
still go to therapy.
Yeah, I am a
You
licensed
know?
psychotherapist, and I check in with the therapist and with people.
right
This
on.
you have to.
You
Yeah.
have to, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to be okay. Even being in this helping field, even that much more really look at yourself and be okay if you're going to be helping other people
Yeah.
in order to help other people, right?
Yeah.
Have a motivation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They
To go get motivated.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean,
they have outpatient programs, like
there's
if you're not ready to
outpatient.
do inpatient where you go in, you could, maybe try outpatient and you might learn a lot there and get motivated. But yeah, there's a lot of help out there. I think we have to wrap it up. Is that right? Okay, we have 1 minute. So you guys, I just want to say thank you guys for coming on and sharing your story, Isela and Jerry. Thank you so much
welcome.
just for sharing your stories because it's vulnerable. You guys were being vulnerable, and I'm really hopeful that it will help lots of people. So you guys, thank you guys so much. Is there anything you guys want to share before we end?
Yeah, I just want to say that if anybody is in a relationship that they know it's unhealthy, don't be afraid to take that leap. Don't be afraid. It'll work out. That's one thing. And if anybody's struggling with alcohol or drugs, understand that there is plenty of hope, and you shouldn't be ashamed of it to ask for help. That to me was by far the biggest leap of
Awesome.
faith, is to just tell another human being, I'm not doing well. Please help me.
That's
And
beautiful.
asking for help takes
Courage.
courage.
Mhm.
So on that note, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.